Good morning, dear students. In this video, we will discuss about chemistry in everyday life chapter. So this chapter is not there for PU syllabus, but you have to study for the objective. Okay. So chemistry in everyday life explains about how the chemistry is useful in our daily life. In each and every step, we can use this chemistry in many ways. For example, we can use this chemicals in medicinal field. For curing of diseases, as well as we can use these chemicals in food. And these chemicals are also used in the cleaning purpose as cleansing agents. In these three ways, we can use these chemicals in our daily life. So we can use chemicals in medicinal field, chemicals in food industry, as well as we can also use them in cleansing purpose. So because of having such many uses, this chemistry is said to be very useful for a living being. Okay, first we'll see one by one how they are useful. So firstly, in medicinal phase, how we can use. So in medicinal phase, different drugs and medicines we are taking to cure the diseases. Okay, so if any person is suffering from a disease or disorder, compulsorily he should overcome from that problem. So they immediately take either drug or medicine to cure that disease or disorder. So that in that way we can use these chemicals in the medicinal field. Whatever the drugs and medicines we are taking, so those are nothing but chemical compounds. Okay, so in different ways we can take. So for example, first for different types of disorders we can take different types of medicines. We'll see one by one. First one, before going to know that, first we want to know what is chemotherapy. First we want to know what is chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a branch of chemistry. It is a branch of chemistry which deals with treatment of diseases, which deals with treatment of diseases using chemicals. Treatment of a disease by using chemicals is called chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is said to be a branch of chemistry which deals with the treatment of diseases using chemicals. Okay, so that is about chemotherapy. In this chemotherapy, we can cure the diseases by using chemicals. Now we want to know another important definition, that is antagonist. Okay, so drugs that bind to the receptor site to inhibit the natural action, they are useful when blocking the message which is required. Okay, antagonists are the drugs which are bind to the receptor and inhibit the natural function of that receptor. These antagonist is going to bind with the binding site, or it is going to attack at the receptor site and inhibit its natural action. Whenever that natural action is, or a natural function is inhibited, so they are useful when blocking the message which is required. Okay, so because of blocking that message, some disorders can be overcome. So that's why we can use this antagonist. Next, agonist. So these agonists are the drugs which mimic the natural messenger. So it can mimic the natural messenger. By switching to the receptor. Okay, by switching on the receptor, and useful when there is lack of natural chemical messenger. Sometimes if natural chemical messenger is not transmitted, the person could not act immediately. So we want to we have to activate that natural message, so that we can use this agonist. This agonist can is said to be a medicine which can mimic the natural messenger by switching to the receptor, by switching on the receptor, and are useful when there is lack of natural chemical messenger. Okay, so in such way we can use these two different types of compounds, that is antagonist and agonist. So next we want to know about what are antacids. Okay, so overproduction of acid in the stomach cause pain and irritation, and in cervix causes ulcers are developed. Okay, overproduction of HCl in the stomach cause some irritation, and even it can cause ulcers. So we want to reduce this HCl in the stomach, or we have to neutral the HCl which is present in the stomach in overproduction. So we have to take this antacids. Ant means against. So these are the chemicals which can act against the acids, that is HCl. So that's why we can call them as antacids, because whenever the chemicals act against this HCl or acid, automatically the ulcers and the irritations gets reduced. So that type of chemicals are called antacids. Example, we can take cimetidine. Okay, it is also known as Tejamet. Next, ranitidine, known as Zantac. Okay, these two are used as antacids. Antacids are the chemicals which are used to neutral HCl or which can reduces the acidity. Then those are known as antacids. Example, we will take these two. Next, another type of chemicals used in medicinal industry is antihistamines. Okay, these antihistamines are also the drugs or the medicines which can act against histamine. Okay, these are act against histamine. Histamine is a substance which is released in the body and can causes allergic symptoms. Okay, histamine is a drug, histamine is a compound which is released in the body and causes allergic irritations. So that we have to overcome that problem. So we need to take a chemical which can act against the histamine. Then those are known as antihistamines. So because of this histamine is a potent vasodilator. It is a potent vasodilator. Okay, it has various functions like contraction of smooth muscles in the bronchi, and it can also help in the relaxing of muscles. Okay, even it causes different types of allergic symptoms. To overcome such allergic symptoms like cold and cough, we have to take the chemicals which can act against that histamine. Those are said to be antihistamines. So example for antihistamine is again cimetidine and ranitidine. So example for that is brompheniramine, next chlorpheniramine, and even cetirizine. All these are examples of antihistamines, the drugs which can act against the histamine. Histamine is responsible for the overproduction of HCl as well as it is responsible for the allergic symptoms. Next, another type of chemicals which we can use is neurologically active drugs. Okay, so neurologically active drugs are, first one, tranquilizers. So tranquilizers are neurologically active drugs. So these tranquilizers are the chemical class of chemical compounds which are used for the treatment of, these are used for the treatment of stress, mild or severe mental diseases. Okay, so they form essential components in sleeping pills. Essential components in sleeping pills. So these are the class of chemical compounds which are used in the treatment of stress, mild or severe mental diseases, and they are said to be the essential components in sleeping pills. Even they give relief for anxiety, stress, irritability, excitement, etc. All those are the disorders of a person whoever in the depression. So to overcome such type of disorders, so we can use these class of chemical compounds. Okay, so example we will take noradrenaline. So noradrenaline is a neurotransmitter which can plays a role in mood elevators or mood changes. Whenever that level of noradrenaline is low in some reasons, okay, so then the signal sending activity becomes very low to the person whoever suffering from the depression. Okay, noradrenaline is said to be one of the neurotransmitter. Whenever that percentage of noradrenaline is low because of any reason, then signal sending mechanism becomes very low, then the person is suffering from that depression diseases or disorders. So for such persons we want to give antidepressant drugs. Okay, so the person now require antidepressant drugs. So they inhibit the enzyme that catalyze the degradation of noradrenaline. Okay, so few enzymes can easily degrades this noradrenaline compound. So then antidepressant drugs can inhibit the activity of enzyme which can degrade this noradrenaline, that is the neurotransmitter. Slowly then it metabolizes the activity of a person for a longer period and who can easily overcome from that depression. Okay, so that is about the tranquilizers. Tranquilizers are mainly used to treat stress, mild or severe mental diseases, and these are said to be the essential components present in the sleeping pills, and even it is used to treat a person who was suffering from the depression. So that depression of that particular person is caused due to reduce or due to the low concentration of noradrenaline compound. Okay, few enzymes present in the body is trying to degrade this noradrenaline enzyme, so which can act as a neurotransmitter. Whenever the level or concentration of noradrenaline decreases, then automatically the person will suffer from the depression diseases. Okay, so that we have to inhibit the activity of such enzyme which can degrade this noradrenaline. So in that case we can use this antidepressant drugs. So example for that antidepressant drugs are iproniazid and phenelzine. Iproniazid and phenelzine can act as the tranquilizers, or we can also call them as antidepressant drugs. And few more examples are there for tranquilizers that we'll see. So few more examples are here for tranquilizers. First one is chlordiazepoxide. So this chlordiazepoxide is used as a mild tranquilizer, which is suitable for relieving tension. Which is suitable for relieving tension. Chlordiazepoxide is used as a mild tranquilizer which can relieve the tension. Next, another example for tranquilizer is Equanil. So Equanil is used in controlling depression. It is used in controlling depression. and hypertension. Okay, Equanil is used in controlling depression as well as this hypertension. So these two are also due to some over extra release of a substance. So that to overcome that problem, we can again use this tranquilizer, that is nothing but example Equanil. Equanil can control the depression and hypertension. So next type of tranquilizers are barbiturates. So these barbiturates are said to be the derivatives of barbituric acid. Okay, derivatives of barbituric acid such as veronal, seconal and etc. So all those are barbituric acids. Their derivatives are called barbiturates. So these barbiturates are act as hypnotic. They are hypnotic, that is sleep inducing agents. These are sleep inducing agents. Barbituric acid derivatives are called barbiturates. These barbiturates can act as hypnotic, that is they can cause sleep. So they are also said to be sleep inducing agents. And another type of tranquilizer is Valium and serotonin. Valium and serotonin are also used as tranquilizers. So these all are examples of tranquilizers. They are used for different types of purposes. Okay. Now under the same topic, we want to study one more important type of medicine, that is nothing but analgesics. Analgesics are the drugs or the medicines which are used to reduce the pain. Okay, so to reduce or abolish pain without causing any impairment of consciousness, mental confusion or paralysis to a person, or there is no disturbance to the nervous system, then we can use this analgesics. Analgesics are used to reduce or abolish the pain without causing any confusion or any incoordination or paralysis to a person. Then we can use such type of medicines to reduce the pain. So these analgesics are again classified into two types. First one is non-narcotic. Non-narcotic in the sense non-addictive. They are non-addictable drugs. Non-narcotic drugs are also known as non-addictable drugs. Example, we will take aspirin and paracetamol. So these aspirin now inhibits the chemical known as prostaglandins. It can inhibit the chemical that is prostaglandins, which stimulate inflammation. It can stimulate inflammation. So because in the tissues and then cause the pain. So because of stimulating inflammation by the prostaglandins, so some pain is released, some pain is caused. So to overcome that pain, we have to take this aspirin and paracetamol. What they will do? So they can inhibit the prostaglandins, thereby it cannot stimulate the inflammation, which is not responsible for the pain. Actually that inflammation is cause for the pain. Now it is inhibited. Okay, so prostaglandins are inhibited by the aspirin. Then there is no inflammation which is caused in the muscles or tissues. So thereby we can overcome from that pain. Okay, so that is about the non-narcotic drugs. Non-narcotic drugs are also, or analgesics are also known as non-addictive. So these are not addicted to the person. So these are not addictable drugs or medicines. So next type of analgesics are narcotic analgesics. So these are addictable in nature. So the drugs which are used to cure the pain or which can relieve the pain, as well as they become addictable to the body of a human being or living organism. So then those are said to be narcotic analgesics. So example for such type of narcotic analgesics are morphine, heroin and codeine. So all these are examples for narcotic analgesics. So what they'll do, so these are the drugs given in the medicinal doses, relieve the pain and produce the sleep. Okay, whenever you take this medicine, it relieves the pain as well as causes the sleep. It is poisonous. Okay, so it is always poisonous in nature. Doses can produce coma, convulsions, and sometimes ultimately death can be caused by these type of narcotic analgesics. Okay, so these mainly used for post operative pain. These are mainly used for post operative pain, cardiac pain. Okay, and it is also used to reduce the pain which is caused by the cancer. So post operative pain, this cardiac pain, as well as the pain which is for childbirth and cancers, for all such type of severe pains only we can use this narcotic analgesics. So these are the examples. Now we want to see about what are antimicrobials. So next topic is antimicrobials, the drugs which can act against microorganisms such as bacteria, virus and fungi, etc. That is called antimicrobials. Okay, under that we have to study now antibiotics. Okay, so these antibiotics are the drugs or the class of chemical compounds which can act against bacteria. So these antibiotics are of two types, that is bactericidal, next one bactericidal and bacteriostatic. So these are the two different types of antibiotics. So example, bactericidal or the drugs which can kill the bacteria. These can kill the bacteria. So bacteriostatic are the drugs which can inhibit the activity of the microorganism. So these inhibit the activity of microorganism, but these can kill completely that microorganism. Example for this bactericidal or penicillin. Okay, next ofloxacin. Penicillin and ofloxacin. Next, bacteriostatic drugs or medicines or erythromycin, tetracyclines and chloramphenicol. All these are bacteriostatic, so which can inhibit the activity of microorganism. But these two are the bactericidal which can easily kill the microorganisms. So next type of drugs are antiseptics. So they are chemicals which either kill or prevent the growth of microorganisms. So antiseptics, they are applied on the living tissues. These are applied on the living tissues such as wounds, cuts, ulcers and diseases related to the skin surfaces. So just these are the drugs which are used for the living tissues. Example, we can take soframycin, furacin, Dettol, which is a mixture of chloroxylenol and terpinol. It is a mixture of This mixture is called Dettol. Next, bithionol. Bithionol is added to the soap. It is added to the soap to impart antiseptic properties. Okay, to impact the antiseptic properties, we can use this substance to the soap. Next, iodine. Okay, so this iodine is a powerful antiseptic. 2 to 3% of iodine in water. So 2 to 3% of solution in alcohol mixture. 2 to 3% of solution in alcohol water mixture is called tincture of iodine. Tincture of iodine. Tincture of iodine is a combination of 2 to 3% of iodine solution in alcohol and water. That is called tincture of iodine. Next, another one is iodoform. So iodoform is also used as one of the antiseptic for wounds. Next, boric acid. So this boric acid in aqueous solution is act as a weak antiseptic for eyes. So these are the different types of antiseptics which are used on the living tissues. So next type of drugs or medicines or disinfectants. Another class of drugs are known as disinfectants. So these disinfectants are the chemicals which are used on cleaning of floors, instruments and drainage systems, etc. So it cannot be taken by the living system, but it is used in cleaning, or it is applied on the objects such as floors, instruments and draining systems, etc. So example, we will take 0.2% solution of phenol. So it can act as antiseptic. It can act as antiseptic, whereas 0.1% of phenol can act as disinfectant. Okay, so this is used to clean the floor, but this is used as an antiseptic. As well as chlorine concentration from 0.2 to 0.4 ppm is also used as one of the disinfectant. So disinfectants cannot be taken by the living organism, but it is applied on the objects, like for cleaning purpose of floors and drainage systems we can use this disinfectants. Okay, next, finally the last type of drug is anti-fertility drugs. Anti-fertility drugs. So the birth control pills, these are said to be the drugs which are used in controlling of child or controlling of birth. So then those type of drugs are called these anti-fertility drugs. So example for such type of anti-fertility drugs are norethindrone. Okay, next one is novastrol. Novastrol and norethindrone both are said to be anti-fertility drugs which are used in controlling of childbirth. Okay, so that is about the different types of medicines which are used in the medicinal industries for different types of diseases and disorders. Now we'll see about the activity of these chemicals in food industries. So next type of chemicals are chemicals in food. So few chemicals we can also use in the food to preserve the food, to avoid spoilage of the food, and which can give extra odor and color to the food. Okay, so those type of chemicals are used in the food industries. So in that the most important type of chemicals are artificial sweetening agent. So why we have to use this artificial sweetening agents means for especially it is used for diabetic patients. Okay, for them we can give sweet or taste of sweet without causing any diabetes. So there should be no increase in the glucose levels. So in that case we can use this artificial sweetening agents. These artificial sweetening agents are more sweetener than the normal cane sugar. So example for such type of artificial sweetening agents are aspartame. This is 100 times sweetener than the cane sugar. Next one, saccharin. The saccharin is 550 times greater sweetener than the sugar cane. Next, sucralose. So this is 600 times sweetener than the cane sugar. Then aspartame. Okay, aspartame. So this aspartame is 2000 times better sweetener than the cane sugar. Okay, so these are the different types of artificial sweetening agents which can improve the sweetness of the food, but it do not cause any increase in the calories of the sugar. Okay, so next, food preservatives. So these food preservatives can preserve the food without spoiling. Okay, so they prevent the spoilage of food due to microbial growth. So example for such type of food preservatives. Common preservatives are table salt and sugar, vegetable oil, sodium benzoate, and salts of sorbic acid and propanoic acid. So all these are examples of food preservatives. They can preserve the food without spoiling the food. So that is about the food preservatives. Now we want to know about cleansing agents. So next type of property of these chemicals is cleansing agents. So even we can also use them as cleaning purpose. Okay, so to improve the cleansing property of water and help in the removal of fats which bind other materials on the fabric or the skin. So then we can use this cleansing agents. Example we will take here, soaps. So these soaps are said to be the sodium or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. Soaps are sodium or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. Example for such soaps are stearic or oleic or palmitic acids. Palmitic acids. Okay, sodium or potassium salts of these fatty acids are called soaps. Soaps containing sodium salts are formed by heating fat. Okay, so these soaps are formed by the saponification process. These are formed by saponification. Then these soaps are used for the cleansing purpose. So like soaps, even we can also use detergents. Okay, so because soaps do not work in hard water, so in that case we can use this detergents. So detergents are also having the cleansing property. There are three different types of detergents. First one is anionic detergents. Anionic detergents. Example for that anionic detergent is sodium lauryl sulfate. Sodium lauryl sulfate. So this is the best anionic detergent. That means whenever it is dissolved in water, that anionic part can show the cleansing property. That's why we can call them as anionic detergents. Second type is cationic detergents. So example for the cationic detergent is cetyl trimethyl ammonium bromide. Cetyl trimethyl ammonium bromide is used as one of the cationic detergent. And the third type of detergent is non-ionic detergents. Okay, non-ionic detergents are also acting as the detergents. Example we will take stearic acid. So the stearic acid which is combined with the polyethylene glycol. Stearic acid and polyethylene glycol is said to be one of the example for the non-ionic detergents. Okay, so that means detergents can act even in the acids as well as it is also used in seawater. It can also be applicable for the cleaning purpose. Okay, these detergents are mainly classified into three types: anionic detergents, cationic detergents and non-ionic detergents. That is about this chemistry in everyday life chapter. So that means in different ways we can use the chemicals in our daily life.